Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast 132. I don't say this lightly, but today's podcast could be the most important crypto podcast of 2023, if not the most important podcast of 2023. This is going to be packed with so much information. I can't wait to get into it. It will have several decodes as part of the first part of today's podcast. And as you can see here on the screen, there was an event that happened on the world stage yesterday, a Black Swan event. And I just wanted to kick this off first by saying if you are someone or you know someone who's in this affected area, the Wolfpack is sending love and abundance and hope that everything is okay. I know that this whole realm has been getting ritualized lately, but as of the past month to 2 months, it's been more than ever, and it's really tragic what's going on. And we're going to be breaking this down step by step today, everything according to my thoughts on how this is going to lead into this upcoming trading week. But there's so much more to life than just investments and money and awareness about what's happening. It's also, there's real people that are affected by this. So I just wanted to send my love and let you all know that if you or someone you know is affected by this, we're here. The Wolfpack is here. Share what you're going through, and we're all family. Just wanted to say that. And anyone who's tuning in, I'm grateful for you guys. This is going to be packed with so much information. It's going to be one of those ones where you're going to want to watch again. I believe it'll be one for the history books. So I poured so much of my heart and soul into today's decode because of what's been going on lately. And there's just some connections that I never even thought would be made. I was even blown away by this. And yeah, well, without any further ado, you can tell I have a heavy heart right now. And I want to deliver this, channel it with some emotion so that you guys know that, this isn't just about being aware. This isn't just about being conscious. This is one of the events, one of the things that we were waiting to happen and for an entire year, whether it be specifically in Israel or anywhere in the world. It was an event that we were waiting for, and here we are. As of yesterday on October 7th, there was a Black Swan event in Israel that we'll be talking about later in today's podcast, and it's crucial because it can definitely affect the way the stock market opens up tomorrow and subsequently affect Bitcoin and the crypto market's price action. These sort of events can bring a lot of volatility to risk assets, especially the more speculative ones such as Bitcoin and altcoins. So I'll be covering all of my thoughts regarding this Black Swan and how it'll affect the markets this upcoming week during today's decode. And if you are new here to the Wolfpack, welcome. It's so great to have you here with us. You're really joining at an incredible time. And if you've yet to get access to the Discord server, just go ahead and send me a direct message over on Patreon with your Discord username and the last 4 numbers after your username. Do not email me or comment below in this video. I won't be able to help you get into the Discord that way. Just please follow those instructions. Also, the same instructions are in the description of the podcast. As well as we're doing amazing with the coin voting system here on the altcoins that we review weekly. Today we're going to be covering a coin that's been highly requested, but there is no chart available on TradingView, but I was able to get access to a long-term chart, and it is for the project Veritasium. I'm not entirely sure how that's pronounced. It could be Veritasium, but you guys have heard of it, I'm sure. It's been highly requested, and again, I was able to find a chart for this, so we're going to be going over Veri as well as Ren, Celo, and Chainlink. So we have a lot to cover, but more importantly, it's today's decode. And I know I have this up on the screen right now, but we're going to hold off on this for right now because there's a couple things I want to recap, and then we'll be going over a Satoshi Nakamoto decode that I first started today's podcast with, which is going to be providing a foundation and the groundwork for a lot of the gems that are going to be revealed through what just happened yesterday in Israel. So going to be getting over to the day calculator here really quickly, but just a reminder, in the last Red Pill podcast, if you have yet to watch it, definitely go check that out. The focus was on Friday the 13th, which is this next Friday, October 13th. And then we have the solar eclipse, which is the following day, right before our next Red Pill podcast. And we also have October 19th, which is going to be the 36th anniversary of the Black Monday crash in 1987. This was discussed thoroughly in my recent presentation, The Great American Eclipse Decoded, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. As well as we have the next FOMC meeting, which is going to be happening during the 44th week of this year. We want to visit our code for a second and show you how solar eclipse adds up to 44 in Chaldean. There was a key date tied to the failure of Silicon Valley Bank on March 10th to October 30th. So we had October 30th being just the day before the first day of this FOMC, but wanted to talk quickly about that reminder of the date, 3/10 of this year, and connecting by 33 weeks and 3 days, the 333 code. We also have this day of October 30th being the 303rd day of the year, the day before Samhain, or what we call Halloween, All Hallows Eve. And Jerome Powell will literally be speaking on the day of this Gaelic festival, November 1st, All Saints Day, again, Samhain. So let's keep that on our minds. Now, I found an absolutely mind-blowing gem that I believe will be tied to the recovery of Bitcoin and the crypto market, and when Bitcoin could potentially be trading back into the 30K range. So as of today, we're looking at the charts and Bitcoin is continuing to get rejected around 28,000. We're just still planting in lower highs. We look like we're recovering at the moment, but we have a lot going on. It's a very precarious time, especially for the fact that we had this Black Swan event happen on a Saturday while crypto was trading alone. And with this being a world event, potentially going into a serious war that could absolutely affect tomorrow's market open. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. But I just want to reveal to you this idea of recovery, because we talk so much about a Black Swan event, how it could be potentially bringing the market down with a focus on the stock market and a little bit of pressure into crypto. And I'll just share that quick idea here. It's because we have only gotten up to slightly below the 0.5 fib for Bitcoin on this recovery, whilst we've seen the stock market going up all the way past this golden pocket. So we made a lot more of a drastic recovery and, well, a much more intense relief rally, meaning that we should have a much deeper pullback for the stock market in comparison to Bitcoin and the top altcoins. Also, a lot of the top altcoins have already lost 90+% of their value, so there's not too much more downside to go. This is stuff we've been talking about for pretty much 6 months now, and we were really trying to focus on that in this recovery timeframe after we had the March 10th Black Swan of Silicon Valley Bank failure and everything that went down during that time. So if you're new here, these are just some of the recap, fundamentals to consider. So here we are, and I want to just discuss something I discovered, which could be pointing to the recovery idea. If we were to get something happening tomorrow and a big event during this upcoming week tied to what we just had happen yesterday with this Israel-Palestine ritual, well, we want to know what to expect with recovery, and that's what I wanted to fill in today. I've talked about it a couple of times over the past couple months, how I feel that whatever happens after Rosh Hashanah, which was September 16th, I told everyone, by the end of 2023, we should actually be recovered. So no matter what happens between then and the end of the year, we should be back into yearly highs. And I think with what I'm going to go into today, it supports it with evidence, this idea. Okay, so as I was sharing moments ago, I believe I found a date connection tied to the recovery where Bitcoin would be back into 30, 31, maybe even heading into 32,000 onto a new higher high in the structure. And the date I found was November 13th. So let's get into that today. We're going to be putting that over here, 11/13 of 2023. It's the new moon in November, which lands on a Monday. Moon Day, Monday. Well, we know that around leading into the new moon is typically when we have our microcycle tops, so it's more of a bullish energy. And as we move away from a new moon into a full moon, we have a more bearish energy, right? Right now, if you just pay attention to the way the market's operating, we are currently leaving a full moon heading into our new moon. This new moon just so happens to be a solar eclipse, though. But we're not doing anything different than what we typically do. So this is fine for right now. But we do have a lot to talk about, which could reveal why tomorrow, between tomorrow and this next date, November 13th, could be some choppy, volatile energy for the market. But Bitcoin right now is in its own world because it's entered a solar cycle. Not everything is going to be doing as well as Bitcoin over the next maybe 6-7 months. And that has everything to do with the astrology. We went into this in depth in the last podcast I released. We're back in this 2016 cycle, 2015 into 2016. After entering the solar cycle and by the second solar eclipse, we saw Bitcoin performing bullishly into the first phase of that second solar eclipse, moving into the third solar eclipse. But we saw altcoins going down, and this had a lot to do with Bitcoin stealing dominance. If we look really quickly at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we could see that we've recovered actually off of a little bit of a pullback into the month of August, and now we're heading right back up, breaking the structural lower high, which is a huge sign. That's telling me, and it's adding up to what I shared in my last podcast, that we could actually be finishing off the year and moving into Q1 of 2024 with like a 54 to 56% dominance for Bitcoin. That would align perfectly with everything I shared in the last podcast. So again, check that one out if you haven't, because it'll provide a lot of, foundation for what we're going to be going into today. So back into this idea of recovery, we've located this day of November 13th. We went over the basic astrological idea that we tend to move bullishly into a new moon. This is a new moon landing on a Monday. Well, what's so significant about this date, specifically for Bitcoin, is that it connects to Satoshi Nakamoto's last birthday. And it also has the code of this exact year. And we're going to be talking about that here. So Satoshi's last birthday was April 5th. And you're going to see, including the end date between April 5th and November 13th, it is separated by 223 days. We are in the 2023 year, the 223 year. Now, this is where it gets mind-blowing. 223 is the 48th prime number. You could see that right here. November 13th, the day we discovered, is the day leaving 48 days in this year. And this all measures off of Satoshi Nakamoto's 48th birthday. Satoshi Nakamoto, this mythological character that is considered the creator of Bitcoin. Of course, this is mythology, but you want to pay attention to it because I have a lot of proof as to why these are important nuances to pay attention to as decoders. Well, it's his 48th year of age. So, just to recap, we're in the 2023 year. November 13th is 223 days since Satoshi Nakamoto's 48th birthday. 223 is the 48th prime. November 13th is the day leaving 48 days left in the year. This is tied to the moon, Monday, new moon. The moon is also called Luna. Luna equals 48 in basic gematria. This is big. When we see this many connections to the same number based off of just 2 dates, we know we are onto something. And anyone who's followed my work for some length of time, you know we've used Satoshi's birthday as an accurate indicator of price action and for specific price targets. So I'm going to get into a couple examples really quickly. A great example by the code would be during Satoshi's 46th year of age, which was 2021. That was the year that Bitcoin hit its all-time high. We saw this number 46 a lot for Bitcoin. So remember, during Satoshi's 46th year, we have 46 being a theme. Well, first and foremost, the alternative ticker for Bitcoin is XBT, which is 46. And if you take, this is a strategy I do, by the way, you take the ticker symbol and also add on the name of the project, and we have another 46. We have Bitcoin and its alternative ticker XBT. The time of the year that Bitcoin hit the all-time high, which was November 10th, 2021, was during Tropical Scorpio, which is the Scorpion giving you 46 in Gematria as well. That's just a little side note, but it's showing you how holistic this whole system is. So again, that all-time high was on November 10th of 2021. We're going to be going over to that chart really quickly to show you. So right over here, that was during Satoshi's 46th year of age. And just a couple of days after, on November 15th, which is this day right here, we're going to be going over to November 15th, 2021. And I want you to see, we were talking about the 46th year of Satoshi. This date of November 15th of right after Bitcoin hit the all-time high, it's the day leaving 46 days left in the year. Now, the mirror of the number 46 is 64. And if we look at that exact date of November 15th of 2021, we could zoom in here and we could see that that was the last day that Bitcoin traded at 64,000 ever. We have not traded at 64K Bitcoin since the day leaving 46 days in the year of Satoshi's 46th birthday. Is your mind blown yet? Well, I have more. Some of you might remember in 2022, I spoke about this publicly on my YouTube channel. It was leading into Satoshi Nakamoto's 47th birthday. I warned everyone about the 47 code tied into his birthday because 47 is the 15th prime number, and we were in the year of the tiger equals 15. Now, we watched in the year of the tiger that 47 code come to life on Satoshi's 47th birthday, and we go to his exact day of the 47th birthday. We're going to zoom in. And you're going to see it's this day right here, April 5th. That was the last day Bitcoin traded at 47,000 since. We have yet to trade at 47K since Satoshi's 47th birthday. I want you to think about this because 47 is the 15th prime number that was tied to the year of the tiger that we were in. After Bitcoin can't get above 47 anymore on his 47th birthday exactly, Bitcoin bottomed at 15,000. 47, 15th prime number. You see how this is all connected? That's the lowest Bitcoin went, and it has remained as the low since in the year of the tiger. $15,000 Bitcoin, year of the tiger, 15 Chaldean. It's all coded together. So we know for a fact Satoshi's age is coded into all of this and all the other elements that I've added into this system. It just rounds it out more. It makes it more powerful. It makes it so it's more accurate. And with this 223-day connection that we talked about, tying to November 13th of this year, based off of Satoshi Nakamoto's 48th birthday, 223, 48th prime number, 48 days left in the year on this exact date. So one last connection to be made to this code is the upcoming solar eclipse on October 14th. That's next weekend. So I just want to show you really quickly, October 14th, big solar eclipse we've been talking about. All right. You're going to see that this day we discovered, it has the same date numerology as the solar eclipse. We have a 67, 67, and we have a 13, 13 standard date numerology. You mirror the number 13 and you have the number 31. 31 days apart exactly. We have Friday the 13th, which is coming up the day before that solar eclipse, and then you have this day being the 13th day of November, both having a 13 standard date numerology. By this time, it would not shock me if Bitcoin is trading at 31,000 again. So in the new moon of November, that would not be weird for us to see a 31K Bitcoin based on all of this code. So this is how we're applying the code to the actual projection. I hope this is making sense. So from where we're trading at right now, that's only about 11% increase from where Bitcoin is trading today. Funny enough, 31 is the 11th prime number. Let me just show you that really quickly. I wasn't even expecting to tell you that, but that's just how the code works. And based on the past 3 iterations of performance after the second solar eclipse of the solar cycle, which we're moving into next week, this would be within the average range of how Bitcoin moves a month after that second solar eclipse. And this is 31 days, a month after. So this is showing you that it wouldn't be weird at all based on these prior iterations, as well as the decoding wisdom that we're uncovering here. So this is my time frame for Bitcoin to be in a more, quote, recovery energy and back to our current yearly highs, which as of right now is slightly below 32K into, I believe it's about 31,800 on most charts. So that's about the time frame we should expect Bitcoin to be at 31K again, right here on this date time frame. Keep that in mind. And remember earlier we spoke about the significance of the number 48 for this year because it's Satoshi's 48th year of age. Well, we're going to go over here to the week numbers, and we're going to see that during the 48th week of this year, it will be November 27th through December 3rd. And if we measure 48 days off the solar eclipse, you're going to see where this brings us. And that is perfectly into the 48th week of the year. Think about this, family. This is going to get wild. There's so much more I have to share with you. So we have 48th year for Satoshi. 48 days after the solar eclipse is in the 48th week of the year. And remember, the mirror of 48 is 84. And that's the exact double digit numerology on this day. 84. Let's break down the code a little bit more. 8 times 4, 32, right? The day before November 29th, not only is your 333rd day of this year, but it's the day leaving 32 days in the year. The day before this day. Now you measure back to this exact date to Satoshi's last birthday, go 4-5. It's giving you 239 days. 239 is your 52nd prime number. Satoshi's birthday this year landed on a 52 date numerology. All of this happening during the year of the rabbit equals 52, which ties perfectly into cryptocurrency, which Satoshi is considered the creator of. 52 in Chaldean. This November 30th date also connects perfectly to the Jubilee. We were talking about the 30th just a moment ago. If we connect it to the first day of Rosh Hashanah, you're going to see it is separated by 77 days. That's 7 cycles of 7 Shemitah on your 49th year, and then you have 50th year, you practice Jubilee. Also, if we take the last 3 iterations of solar cycles by the second solar eclipse in the cycle, it took Bitcoin on average 50 to 60 days after that second solar eclipse to be approaching yearly highs. So this also provides even more data, and it's perfectly aligned with our recovery time that we spoke about earlier. So 60 days after the solar eclipse, we're going to quickly measure that. I'm going to go off of 1014 over to 60 days total, and you're going to see this brings us to December 12th. Sometime around December 12th, December 13th, depending on if you add the end day. Well, December 13th will be the last time that Fed Chair Powell will speak at the FOMC for the year of 2023. And since that's leading into Christmas time, I'm going to assume they will want to keep everyone feeling positive to keep them buying liabilities around the holidays. Typical mind control tactic. You guys get how this goes. Consumerism. And of course, we can see some end of the year tax loss harvesting. That's typically how things go. Even I have been transparent with you guys, and I've let you know that I intend to sell some of my positions at a loss intentionally to level out the capital gains I'm paying on the profits from my XRP trade this year. So, of course, I'll be sharing everything transparently in the Discord server in the What I'm Buying and Selling text channel. No need to message me or email me about this. I will let you know at live updates whenever I'm buying or selling. It's very user-friendly. And also ask questions in the community if needed, because a lot of this stuff is within our Discord. Anywho, between now and the first date I revealed, so right now is the 8th of October. And the first date we talked about was November 13th. This gives me about 36 days to intentionally sell at a loss with the intent to buy back to reorganize my portfolio, simplify my portfolio, which simplifies my life, and prepare myself for this recovery stage into December. Since 50% of my portfolio is Bitcoin and the other 25% is made up of Ethereum and XRP with a new 10% position in gold, I'm not worried too much if there's a deeper pullback after the month of November for the other altcoins, since it won't affect me too much based on what I hold. That remaining 15% being my venture capital bag, I will continue to DCA into these more speculative plays until the next Bitcoin halving in April 2024 anyways. So I will be buying some Bitcoin if we get a pullback. I will be buying some XRP and Ethereum if we get a pullback, but I'm not worried about any deeper corrections if some of this analysis doesn't go according to plan. Because of everything else I've shared, my portfolio is so balanced right now that it doesn't affect me as much. So I don't intend to sell any of my Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP at this time, only my other positions in regards to this intentional tax loss harvesting strategy I've been speaking about. So you'll be seeing me sell mostly things like Theta, VeChain, and Zilliqa with intent to buy those back to maintain about 15% of my venture capital bag. So I'm not selling them forever. I will reaccumulate. And again, I told you I will share the exact prices that I'm buying at and the coins I'm buying at in our Discord. It'll be all very out there in the open, very transparent with you guys. Again, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just revealing what I intend to do based on my situation and the investment thesis that I developed for myself moving into 2024. So now, again, there was a Black Swan event that happened yesterday. You're all probably aware of it. Israel has effectively declared war after a, quote, surprise air and ground attack from Gaza. Back in September, we're going to go over here, I warned about this. The next ritual will be through the air waves. I made this post right after Yom Kippur, literally within 24 hours after Yom Kippur. And you're going to see why that's important a little bit later. I really feel like I'm dialed into this code. It's starting to even blow my mind. The only reason I'm not sitting here taking credit or acting as if there's like an I'm right or I told you so or I called it energy is because that's not the kind of guy I am. I don't want to be a predictions guy, and I look at these things as they affect real people. How could I ever be happy knowing that people have died because of this? It's not who I am. It's not what I stand for. I don't promote war. I don't promote killing. I don't want anyone to have to deal with this in our world. So I will never look at it as the I'm right or I told you so. None of that. That's childish. But we are dialed into the code here. We are decoding purposefully so we could see how this whole matrix operates and hopefully to protect our prana in the process. You know, even with the New York flooding, I was very open that there will continue to be water rituals and they will be heading towards the East Coast, either New York City or Washington, D.C. We saw how that went. It's horrible what happened. But this is what we're doing here. We're trying to decode it. We're getting very scary, accurate results. So if it's not broke, there's no point in trying to fix it. And what just happened yesterday really solidifies what's been going on and how we've been able to tap into this code. So there was an event that happened yesterday. We're all quite aware of it. I just want to scroll down a little bit into this article, and you're going to see for yourself that they did the decoding for you. They tell you right here, falling on the 50th anniversary of the 1973 war in which Arab states blitzed Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. This is important, guys. What's so significant about this number 50 and the idea of a 50th anniversary? Well, that's tied to biblical Jubilee. You have 7 cycles of 7 Shemitah, 49 years, and on the 50th year is Jubilee. And we literally just ended what I was calling the Jubilee year. What does all of this tie back to? It ties back to Saturn, Father Time. This Black Swan event that happened on October 7th, yesterday, Well, it's connected to Rosh Hashanah this year. We're going to type in 9, go to 16, and you're going to see this was the day of Rosh Hashanah, a Saturn day. This event that happened yesterday, this Black Swan, was on a Saturn day. They're connected exactly 21 days from each other. Saturn equals 21. Saturn is Satoshi. There's 21 million Bitcoin in supply. That's the 2021 year was the year that in Hebrew year added up to 21. 21 in Gregorian, we had our bull run. It's all based off of this Saturn code. I know you all get it now because we're seeing how this works. And this event happening exactly 21 days after the end of Jubilee, literally on a perfect Jubilee ritual back to Yom Kippur War in 73. How many times have I told you guys that we're mirroring 73? It's one of the most similar outlooks and quote unquote predictions that I've had that was also shared by another decoder and teacher, Jason Brashears over at Archaics. At least that's what I remember from one of the conversations and podcasts that we did together. So I'm sure even he has his own take on all of this. But getting back to this, I believe we have a lot of code to get into, and I just wanted to talk about the reasoning and the base foundation here, which comes back to Saturn, Father Time. And I find it really interesting how right here we see directly from this article, they're just telling you what happened. 73 50-year anniversary, the Yom Kippur War. So let's get into some of this code. This event happened 50 years ago. It's tied to the Jubilee Code of 50 years. It was between these two nations. Israel and Palestine add up to 50. And the ritual was called the Yom Kippur War. And this is where it starts getting really interesting. Look at that 96, guys. Yom Kippur War adds up to 69, one of our most important codes for this year. Remember, on the 69th day of this year, Silicon Valley Bank failed. Even by the code, when we type in Silicon Valley Bank, you're going to see for yourself 69 in the same cipher. Okay? And this ritual back in 1973, it lasted 2 weeks and 5 days. This is very important code. It's the 25 code, and we're in the year of the rabbit this year, 5225, as above, so below. Earlier, we were talking about the number 48 tied to Satoshi because it's his 48th year, which led us to an incredible set of date connections coming up very soon. And this reminded me that the state of Israel was established in 1948. Yom Kippur War adds up to 48 during Satoshi's 48th year, tied to everything we've decoded today. This conflict was also called the October War. October War gives you 48. How mind-blowing is this? So if we take from the year that Israel was formed in 1948, I'm going to show you by the code, and you connect it to right now in October. 1 second, family. In 1973, when this Yom Kippur War happened, we're looking at exactly 25 years time frame. So 25 years from the formation of Israel, there was a war that lasted 2 weeks and 5 days. 25 is, of course, half the time of a Jubilee. This really makes me feel that they're going to ritualize the Hebrew year that adds up to 25 hardcore, okay? Pay attention to this. I know it's a little side note, but it's important. The next Hebrew year will be 5,785. It'll be at the beginning of October. This is crucial. October 2024 will be moving into the new Hebrew year. I think they're going to ritualize this number the number 25 a lot. And this ritual will happen synchronized with the Gregorian year of 2025. That is the year of the snake. This is one of the most important gems I've ever dropped, and you're getting it very early. You're so well prepared for this, it's not even funny. Well, 2024 is really our year as conscious individuals to band together and take action as a collective to prepare ourselves with what's to come in 2025. We really want to be on the ball this next year because 2024 will be one of the most transformative years of our lifetime, the year of the dragon. This is going to be an incredibly powerful year for the Wolfpack, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing these opportunities with all of you here. So, getting back to this Black Swan, I have a couple incredible connections to share, specifically tied around the concept of a Black Swan. Black Swan equals 86 by the code. The day that Israel was formed in 1948 was May 14th. And look at that. The double-digit date numerology adds up to 86. Black Swan, 86 by the code. The day Israel was formed, Zionist nation, 86 date numerology. Now you ready? The day of the Yom Kippur War, starting on October 6th. This is really important because October is not the 10th month in the system. October, octagon, it's an 8-sided polygon. This is the 8th month in the system. It should actually be written as 8-6. Look at how October 6th lands on the day, leaving 86 days left in the year. Oct 8-6 day leaving 86 days in the year, tied to the 86th day, the day Israel was formed. Can't make this up. So what does 8 times 6 give us? 48. Right back to the main theme of our decode today. So this upcoming week, starting tomorrow, will be crucial. I'm anticipating the markets to respond negatively to this Black Swan event. I'm sure most of you are as well. Tomorrow, October 9th, when the market opens up, it'll be the day leaving 83 days left in the year. So let me get into this decode for you guys. So we have October 9th. This is big for you to pay attention to, okay? October 9th, leaving 83 days left in this year. We're going to click right here, and I'm going to show you how 83 is the 23rd prime number, all right? It was tied to the Hebrew year of 5,783 last year that we just moved out of. 5783 is, look at Black Swan gives you 23. 5783 equals 23. The year called Jubilee equals 23. And if we measure off of this day back to Rosh Hashanah of this year, it is exactly 23 days apart. And it lands on a Monday, the day of the moon equals 23 in the same cipher, all tied back to Bitcoin equals 23. Think about this, family. Tomorrow is huge. I am so glad that I was able to make this podcast today to get you guys prepared. 23 days after tomorrow will be the 1st of November. That's the day of the next Federal Reserve FOMC meeting. And historically, we've had 3 crashes or starts of bear markets during this exact week that starts tomorrow. One happened back in 2002 on this exact day of October 9th. Then one in October 11th of 2007, as well as October 13th of 1989. It was called the Friday the 13th mini crash, which will also be Friday the 13th, this upcoming Friday, the same exact date, same exact month, landing on the same exact day. So going back to October 9th of 2002, this happened on a important date to pull out. Let me just show you. We have 10/9 of 2002. And you're going to see we have a 41 double-digit date numerology and the mirror of that 14 standard date numerology. And remember, tomorrow will be starting the 41st week of the year. And during this week that starts tomorrow, it'll be within the 33rd anniversary of the Friday the 13th mini crash that happened in 1989. We know this number 33 is powerful for the occult and the elite. Tomorrow is also a 17 standard date numerology. That's the 7th prime number. They did this Black Swan in Israel on the 7th day of this month, just a couple days ago. Again, coming back to the power of the number 7, and that's tied to Saturn. It's a key number associated with Saturn, even though the hexagon is a symbol of Saturn. Just a side note. We know we're moving into the year of the dragon. Dragon giving you 59. That's your 17th prime number, again reducing down to the 7 code. We're also still in what I'm calling the 7th sign, which is Virgo in sidereal. I start my count with Pisces being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 being Virgo. And you can see that we'll be in Virgo until October 17th. Another 17 connection. You mirror the number 17 and you're going to have 71, like Virgo equals 71. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, equals 23, which perfectly ties into tomorrow being 23 days since Rosh Hashanah that ended the Jubilee in the Hebrew year 5783 equals 23. And tomorrow's the day, leaving 83 days left in the year, the 23rd prime number. Could this be any more perfect? Our timing for a Black Swan event between the end of Jubilee and October 14th solar eclipse was an incredible call. Something I talked about over a year ago, and it came to life at the exact time we expected. And to dial in the accuracy of this, if we were to take between September 18th and the solar eclipse, that gives us 26 days. 26 days is just 7% of an entire year. And with being prepared over a year ago, that is mind-blowing precision, and it shows you how powerful this decoding system is. And it shocked me how much negativity has come this way over the past couple weeks of people saying, where's the Black Swan? And it just shows me where those people are at consciously and how little patience they have, because it's not the solar eclipse yet. And I called out a time frame that's only 7% of the days of an entire year. That could even be reduced down to less than 6% depending on how tomorrow goes. So when this market opens tomorrow, and we have already had this event unfold yesterday at this exact time that we've been anticipating for an entire year now, 1 year in advance with this level of precision, I don't need to defend myself. The proof is in our reality now. Again, the proof is in our reality now. So I appreciate those who've been supportive of my art and who understand where I'm coming from with the essence of my decodes, and those who actually feel my intent of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I just want you to know how grateful I am for all the support and how I've been motivated every week to just keep getting better and better at my craft and provide you all with the most value every single week. That's all I intend to do. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day, and it's beautiful that we're here together to see how this is all going to go down in this community during this exact time, and I'm very grateful to be a part of your journey, and I'm definitely excited to see how this all happens during this week. I would love to know some of your thoughts in our Discord, what you guys think are going to unfold, some of your decoding information tied back to this event that happened yesterday. My intuition says that it's going to be an incredible opportunity to take action no matter what happens, given all of the code that we've went over the past 2-3 months specifically leading into this exact time frame. So let's get into the crypto market and review those charts, starting with, actually, I just want to quickly review what we've had happen in the traditional markets. We've had a somewhat exuberant buyback. I think this is very much trappy kind of energy. We had a big buyback candle on the NASDAQ as well as S&P, just considering we do still have lower highs. So it's not like we've structurally broke out or anything like that. We just had a pretty nice buyback into the Friday close. We saw gold was really tanking into the weekly close. Nice little buyback. I assume that this is about as low as gold is going to get, but you guys do remember the last podcast I released, where did I tell you was my buy zone? I said 1810 to 1830, and we swiped perfectly through that and then came right up to 1830. So that was incredible precision on that as well. I did go ahead and accumulate gold. I told you guys I was doing it. I gave you my range. We're all good to go now. I will probably buy a little bit more gold, especially if we pull back even deeper, because any more corrections is positive for me, especially with where fiat is headed. No matter if you're heavy in USD or euros or Swiss franc or whatever, like fiat is dying. We all know this. I much rather put my bet on Bitcoin, but there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of gold. So I have that 10% gold position now as part of my overall portfolio. I was able to utilize this dramatic sell-off, one of the most oversold RSIs we've seen on the daily chart in quite a while. So this was just dramatic. We see these dramatic pullbacks with gold, and then we buy back even more. Structurally, we're looking fine here, even though this triple top essence is not the most vibey. But I think 2024, the year of the dragon, is going to be proving that gold has the juice to move up to 2,400. So that's my code on that. We're moving into the year of the X. X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. We have all these 24 codes. We have our Hebrew year, adds up to 5784 is 24. Again, year of the X, 24. We have the Great American Eclipse, creating that X over Texas. We went over this in my recent Great American Eclipse Decoded. Go check that out. And with this being the year of the dragon, tied to the sun, which is tied to gold, I think that's very positive, and it makes me feel that once we get through these eclipses, it's going to be an incredible year for gold. And, not the most incredible returns, but 30% on something whilst we're watching fiat slowly drown. I mean, I can't complain about that. So, anywho, my thoughts on the NASDAQ Dow and the traditional markets is that I do anticipate a little bit of a pullback. We want to look at the 702 fib, okay? You see where the 702 is coming in for the NASDAQ? Keep an eye on that. The S&P has already broke below it, so it's already very negative, and the Dow as well has broken well below it. Now we're even below the 618, breaking effectively through the golden pocket, struggling to get back above it, but we got a little bit of a buyback rejection exactly there. That tells me that's a sign of weakness as well. I want to see us come down below the 0.5 fib, and that'll be when buying is really, the buying essence is there. But for right now, it's just a continuation of a sell-off. So many people are like, why isn't the market crashing? Why isn't it going? It's like, did you not look at September was one of the worst monthly performances in the stock market for over a year? Like, what do you want? This is not a wolf energy, Anybody could load up these charts and see for yourself what's going on. Relax yourself, ask questions, be curious. Curiosity helps. And if you really don't know much of anything, how could you expect something? I'm not trying to get spicy here, but I just want to be real with people, Be a wolf, collaborate. Don't point fingers. Don't say that you're right or wrong. None of that energy even matters at the end of the day. All that matters is what you're doing about it and how you work with others while you're taking action. Because that type of energy is just in competitive nature, and it's going to be really hard for you to organize with people who have a like mind when you're always sword fighting and they're trying to dance with you. Nobody's going to enjoy that type of essence around them, especially at times like this, where we're watching the New World Order succeed by dividing all of us. Remember, I said that. So what we have right now is clearly weakness in all of these charts. We even saw gold with a dramatic sell-off. This is how it goes. And now we had a black swan just yesterday leading into this new market open. I guarantee this is probably going to be more negative essence. It's perfectly according to our plan. We were on the money. This proves it. So let's go over to Bitcoin. See how things can shake out. Bitcoin right now hovering around the 382 fib in the macro pull. When I say macro fib pull, I mean from the all-time high down to the swing low. We're looking at a logarithmic chart, and we're also having our fib setting with a log turned on right there. Fib levels based on log scale. We like to do that when we have over a year of data, and now we're working on more than just a year. We're looking at over almost 700 days of data. Okay. So keep this in mind. We do have a couple of trend lines to consider here. I know we went over this firmament dome chart. Let me see if this will load up. It has. We've talked about this a couple of times. We had this firmament dome that's very experimental technical analysis, but it's interesting nonetheless. We had all of these rejections on the outside of the dome, but as of the end of September into the monthly open, we've broken above it. Then we had this other trend line. I'm going to turn into a different color for a second so that it's easier for you guys to see, but it was on the rejection of the current yearly high, this lower high, and then effectively we've had a little bit of dance on that level. We've broken out of that too. So this is really kind of the essence of what Bitcoin tends to do leading into the second solar eclipse of a solar cycle. It's no different than what we've seen before. Now, this is, it's an interesting time for sure, because we only have 3 iterations of what Bitcoin does around a second solar eclipse of a solar cycle, and 2 of them were back to back the same. I'll show you what I'm saying. We're looking at this chart here. When I say 2 of them, I mean this 2014, 2013 cycle, specifically right there. And then we have what happened right here. Let me zoom in. We have the start of a solar cycle. We had this flat type of energy through the solar eclipse, but you see this mini like kind of flash crash and recovery that we had into the second solar eclipse. Well, I'm going to go over here and you're going to see the same thing. So we have solar cycle starts, we have a huge pump, flash crash, and then we just traded sideways through the second solar eclipse. But when I zoom in, look at how after the second solar eclipse, we never went lower than that again. That was the pivot buy moment. Right over here, same thing. That was the lowest we got. We just went up after it. Now the anomaly would be an anomaly for everything and everyone, which would be the C19 Black Swan. So we had ultimately a very similar thing where after the second solar eclipse, we went up, but then we had this flash crash, right? Well, we can see that we went down only about 7 more days after 1 week, and then we had a nice rally continuing. On the 2 iterations before that, we just went up. So if we were to take 7 days off of this solar eclipse and consider that's the 21st of October, is that right around the full moon? It's right around the first quarter, and that's something that we teach, to consider the first quarter moon, because the first and third quarter moons are pivots. So that would not shock me if we did mimic that last cycle. The lowest we'll see Bitcoin is probably by this date, and then we will move out of it. That's really in alignment with a lot of things that we teach around here. So keep an eye on that for Bitcoin. Nonetheless, we already talked about all the Black Swan energy and all the things. We have the Friday the 13th, solar eclipse the next day, the 19th of October being the 36th anniversary. 19th of October is just 2 days before that 21st. So think about that, family. This is really the final moments. It's only about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get in on potentially some of the last good buying opportunities for Bitcoin. Altcoins are another story, and we talked about that the last podcast. Go check that out if you haven't watched it yet. So as for the esoterica and all of the things going on, like, we're fully covered so far. Let me look at this without the noise and look at some of our traditional analysis. We're looking at the weekly chart. We have this dark green moving average, 200 simple moving average rejected. That's key. We're continuing to stay below that after we broke down in the middle of August. Not getting above that is a sign of weakness. And we could see that we have this 55 simple moving average moving up very fast. It's now above 24,000. If we're going to get a deeper pullback, that's the key target that I would be looking for, just because we've seen that in the past. So we see over here, we have the 8 below the 55. That's a very bad wolf cross to have happen to the downside. That's what led you to your larger correction. Here, we have that iteration up here. Then you could see much deeper correction. But then look at how it flips it. When we had our automatic rally in the last cycle, we gravitated right back down to the 55 simple moving average. Now look here, we're in our process of watching this 55 simple cross up, getting close to 25K, which is pretty much in our horizontal level of support. We have a rejection here, prior resistance at 25,000, a secondary rejection at 25,000. This was your March 10th Black Swan. We got above it. We've tested it once. We've tested it all of these weeks. Well, that's the key level. 25K might be as deep as Bitcoin gets if we're going to have a short-term pullback. And remember, when we had the Russia-Ukraine conflict, it was some quick pullbacks for the market, but it was actual positive for Bitcoin. It was positive for crypto because it's an alternative currency in that regard, okay? So again, in alignment with this war narrative, I'm not looking for much more dramatic, nasty pullbacks for Bitcoin. I'll take them if the market comes to me, but other than that, it's really the altcoins that are going to get, that's where the real damage is at this time. So I have altcoins in my bag, of course, at around 15% of my overall portfolio, not considering ETH and XRP. I'll just use those as opportunities, Chief Wolf wants pullbacks. I love opportunities. I'm not worried because I know that 2024 is going to be an explosive year, especially into Q3, Q4. Just my opinion, not financial advice. Getting over to some of the numbers here. Well, we are in a downtrend in the micro until Bitcoin can close above 31,700. We did get some essence above these two daily candles that I talked about in the last podcast, but we're not really making any exuberant moves. We continue to make lower highs. Not too much positive to say until Bitcoin can break this 28K with some volume. And the fact that we're moving into this week with getting rejected at 28K, it's not a sign of strength at all. So keep that in mind. But we do have this wolf cross on the daily of the 8 above the 55. That's nice. We do have about 60 on the daily RSI. That's in bullish control. But just like the weekly chart, let me show you the weekly real quick. You see this dark green moving average. We're getting rejected on our weekly closes on the 200 simple. Same story on the daily. 200 simple is just smacking us down. So that's a key level, guys. You want to be looking at the 200 simple moving average for daily closes above, and then that will send Bitcoin most likely into that recovery energy. But in the meantime, we have to consider any pullbacks because of this black swan that just occurred in Israel. Let me go over to ETH and see what's up. ETH much more dramatic on this recent pullback, holding this support here at around 1600. Like I said before, if there's going to be a deeper pullback for Bitcoin, even if it only goes to 25K, that could be what solidifies a retest for ETH down at 1400 because of how much more dominance Bitcoin has right now compared to Ethereum. So we're looking at about 1400 for a buy zone for ETH. I suspect 1530 has really been, that's been a key level. I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to confuse people. I'm just kind of rattling off some of my thoughts. Okay, anything below 1530 is a buy on ETH for the long term. And then, we're just holding these lower highs still in now it's almost like a macro downtrend because we're almost on 200 straight days now. So this was a key trend line that we broke right here. You see this? Once we broke that there, that was really key because that was in play for 250 days. And now we can see sort of the same energy over here where we're getting rejections across lower highs, squeezing together in what could become a huge triangle, symmetrical triangle. And then that breakout target will just be in alignment with the next bull run. But 1500 or lower is kind of my buy zone. And then if we really want to get oversold, it's that 236. I don't know if ETH can make it down there unless there's really some negative shit happening over the next week. Now we got XRP kind of following the same projection of couldn't get over that 54 cent target that I keep telling you guys about, right back at 51 cents. Let's see how it holds. I would love to get sub 50 cent XRP at this time. If it wants to go down to 42, 43, or even 45, to me, it's all just accumulation opportunities. There's no XRP for me to sell at this moment because I already did my de-risking back in July. You're all aware of it. But at this time, I would still love to accumulate more XRP leading us into the next cycle. And I feel like the end of this year is really the time. There's going to be a time, it's the end of this year. So we have our targets. It's specifically at the 236 fib. Okay, family? So 45 cents. Anything around there, it's a gift. As for anything above 61 cents, to me, that would be recovery energy. I know we have 54 cents, but every time we get there, we just get smacked down. And that's been the case going back to September of 2023. That's over a year ago, family. So it's not just about 54 and then we're throwing a party. It's about 62, really. And anything under 54 down to this 236 fib is a buy zone for dollar cost averaging. Again, not financial advice. It's just my own analysis and my opinion on the matter. Okay, so now we're going to be going over to Veritasium. I know a lot of you are interested in it. I'm just going to be very honest and share my quick thoughts right away. We are looking at a weekly chart. There's some noise on this. I'm not sure how accurate all of this is, but if I was to zoom in right here, this is technically our bull run top in January 2018. That's when everything hit a bull run top back if they were trading back then, of course. So that would be things like Stellar Lumens, Monero, Dash, You guys remember Digibyte? Like everything had alt season into January 2018. Now, this project's chart looks very similar to like an XRP or Stellar Lumens because it in 2021 into the end of in 2022, 2021, it never made a new all-time high. It had a lower high. So let me show you what I mean. I'll just pull up the XLM chart and give you guys a visual. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying today's podcast. This is really packed with a lot of value, a lot of information. Okay, so you can see what I'm saying. So we have January right over here, December, January into 2018, and then we have this lower high, almost double topped on XLM. XLM had a pretty nice buyback. Now let me pull up another chart just for fun. Let's go to Litecoin. You guys could see what I mean. Litecoin, all right, so we have our top again into that end of the year 2017 into January 2018 alt season. Then we could not really get much more of an exuberant run. We just topped out at the same levels. There's a ton of examples of these. I'm sure you guys could pull up some charts and you could see for yourself. I believe Monero is a similar situation. Anyways, back on track here, we have this Veritasium. So not really benefiting so much off of that bull run that happened in 2021 for a lot of other altcoins. We can see right here from current all-time high to sell-off, that's a 99.6% correction, guys. That's like what Hex has lost, right? If I pull up the Hex chart, I believe that's kind of what we're working with here. We have from this level at around 56 cents to where we're trading at today, that's 99.4% down. This to me does not make me feel like gambling on it. This is a horrifying chart. I know this is going to be hard for some people because everyone probably wants to hear me say positive things, but this is the Red Pill podcast and I'm handing out red pills. So this 99.5% sell-off is a huge sign of weakness. This buyback that didn't quite make it to all-time highs or even a new all-time high is another sign of weakness. Then we have off of the 2021 highs, we've seen already a 95% pullback, and the deepest part of that pullback was this week. So while Bitcoin is getting back to 28K, this thing can't even move up. It's moving the opposite of the market. You see all this chop around here at the 236 fib. That is a key level. Pay attention to what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at $15 on the very chart. This is your Christmas tree blow off top. We go to $15. Snaked around it for like a year. We had a deeper selling climax. Got right back to 15, snaked around it for the same amount of time. Then we had what's called an automatic rally in the macro. Came right back to that level, then again lower high, confirming an automatic rally, then a break below the 382, ultra confirming that this was your macro automatic rally, all around this $15. So if this thing is going to go lower, naturally gravitate to this 236. It's funny, it's at 666 right now, but just keep that in mind. Let me look at a little bit of the code because I'm sure some of you would appreciate that. Veri adds up to 14. That was based off 43. That could be helpful for next year, actually, because we talked about the year of the tiger having that 43 and 14 positive aspect. And if we are to see war break out and continue, any war will transition in that last minute energy, similar to the way that the LA Rams won the Super Bowl in the last minute. LA Rams adds up to 14. We have Ram equals 14. Just giving you some of my thoughts, method to my madness. 27, that's a number directly tied to Jupiter. We're moving into the year of Jupiter because it's the year of the X. That number 24 is the Jupiter Zodiac logo, 5784 Hebrew year, 24, X24. You get where I'm going with this. Veritasium, am I spelling it right? There we have a 43. I'm just going to copy and paste this to make sure that I am on the money. There you go, family. I was talking about the number 43, that being the 14th prime number. Okay, so that is definitely crucial. We also have 137 in reverse. That's the 33rd prime number, and then 37. Just looking at some of the code. Okay, 12th prime. 37 is 777. That's your jackpot number. 777 is 21. That's powerful too. We have 133. That's your 33rd. That's your key master number, your 33 number of transmutation. When you put the 1 in front of it, that's adding emphasis to the 33. Then you have your 137. That's your 33rd prime number. So we're getting a lot of 33s in this energy. And then your 37777 adds up to 21. That brings you back to Saturn. So there's a little bit of Saturnian energy in this. Let me look at the way that this project's logo is. Oh, and then it has the white and orange symbolism. So that's definitely sun vibes. Got a little bit of Bitcoin look to it, but not really. Just that color orange. It's going to be big next year for sure. Symbol of the sun. You could also look at yellow. It's all sort of the same. It ties back to the flame. Remember, we talked a lot about fire in 2024. And specifically, I believe there will be a fire ritual on April 14th into 15th of 2024. And that orange, red, and yellow color symbolism is going to be big. T fuel, by the way, theta fuel, it's literally a flame is the logo. So I'm betting on that one for sure. Not huge, enough to, balance out my venture capital bag. But yeah, I don't love this chart, to be completely honest. It looks like this project is in sacrifice mode. Let me see. There's a guy tied to this, right? Like a really important, something like Middleton, I think, right? Reggie Middleton. I'm glad I remembered that. I don't have the time to fully decode this family, but I'm just quickly looking at some things to consider. Remember, we were talking about the number 84 and 48. It's Satoshi's 48th birthday. We got that mirror of that 84 right there. And then we talked about a 48 date, an 84 date, excuse me. Okay, interesting stuff. Got the 111, the event 201. Okay, very tossy. 93, that's tied to Saturn. 93 Saturn. Reggie Middleton. That name Middleton, 96. Queen died at 96. 37. That was also in Very as well, right? Tassium gave you that 37. Middleton, his name. 37. Okay, 42. Also tied back to Saturn. 42, 69, 96. Middleton. 96. Okay. Yeah, this is not looking like great code, because that 96 was tied to sacrifice of the queen. 96 mirrored 69. We had on the 69th day ritual sacrifice of Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, this chart is looking horrible as well. This very chart. Yeah, guys, pay attention to this sort of energy that we're selling through right here. We're breaking through all of this horizontal structure. We had over here a year, then over here we had another almost year, and now we're breaking below it. That's not good. Huge weakness. So if this thing starts breaking down, I mean, I wouldn't even want to buy it, because yeah, not my thing. But if it is a macro Wyckoff, where this is your buying climax, this is your selling climax, this is your automatic rally, and what we're heading into now is somewhat of a double bottom spring, kind of like deep, really exaggerated sell-off to shake out anyone who's invested in this, well, then the next thing you have is a SOS, a sign of strength. And if this was to only get back to a new all-time high based on where it is today, if it was to get back anywhere near there, that's about a 3,000% gain. So when it comes to plays like this and you using your macro Wyckoff and all of the tools that you have in your tool belt, just be careful. Don't bet the farm on this sort of stuff. I mean, this has been perpetually on a downtrend for 2,100 days. That's a long fucking time, okay? Be careful out there, wolves. We're going over now to Ren. It's been a while since I've looked at this chart. Alrighty, this is not good. So we're looking at a double top, end of the bull run, a total sell-off of about 97%, pretty typical. We have these M patterns showing up a lot in this. Let me look at, I see a clear trend line downtrend right here. Boom, clear as day. This tells me that there's going to be a pivot off of this buying climax. Then next is your automatic rally. And this thing might only have an automatic rally, meaning the next bull run, that might be it. So if this is effectively the bottom, I just want to show you real quick. We're going to make sure we're in fib levels based on log scale. That would be your target for the next bull run on this thing at best. I don't know if we can get into double top energy, but it would be your 888 fib. Now, that's not bad. I mean, fuck. If we got back up to the golden pocket, that's 1,300% gains. That's really nice. Now, the only thing is this sell-off over? That's what nobody knows. And what you would want to pay attention to is this horizontal level right here. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. It's about 3 cents. Okay, we have this first test, break below, rejection, gravity right back to it again and again before the parabolic bull run buying climax. If we're to have a continuation of the sell-off, it would pretty much be right around there, somewhere around 3 cents, 0.35 to 0.3 on the money. Just call it 3 cents. So yeah, this thing is not looking great. We are continuing to get rejected on this trend line now, going on 750 days. This tells me that if we are to come down and sell off a little bit more, there's an opportunity for a buyback into this 0.5 fib as high as the 786, and that could be a great opportunity to accumulate in this range for a 1,500% gain. It's pretty big, but this stuff could go to zero also. Like, I don't have any confidence in this, so I won't be involved in REN at all. Just my own personal investment thesis does not include that. All right, we're looking at cello. I would pronounce this cello. I don't know. But anyways. Oh no, this is not good. Don't invest in this. I shouldn't say that, right? It's not financial advice. Oh, goodness. Yep, this perfectly played out. So what I did really quickly was I identified the break of the continuation of the selling climax, and then I adjusted it with consideration of this moment right here. So that allows me to pull a bearish fib from the swing low to this swing high at the current all-time high, and it will give me my 1618 at the bottom. And that's exactly what this thing gravitated to. It pierced through it in June, and we're still just perpetually kind of dealing with this lower range. Got a little bit of a trend line clean right there. So if selling pressure is going to continue, building structure around 36 cents is in the cards. And then what are we looking at? Is this a 90? Okay, so again, 97% sell-off pretty much. I would not trust this stuff because we have no data before the C19 crash, and it has effectively just been on price discovery to the downside. So this thing is downward dropping over and over and over again, and there is no bottom to stuff like this. It could go to Hades. So be very cautious on these types of altcoins. I'd be waiting, if I were you, till past the next Bitcoin halving to be making any decisions on shit like this, on charts that have this type of energy to them. This is not good. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Chainlink because I can't really say too much in regards to this cello chart. Chainlink, an all-time favorite. It's been about 2 months since we've covered this project, which is our minimum time frame between when we want to cover projects. So with that being said, let's just hold off on reviewing this one for a little longer. I mean, next time we cover it should be at least 3 months from today. I don't want to be covering these projects so often because I want to make room for other things to talk about, look at other coins. It's been trapped in this horizontal trading range now going on 500 days. If I looked at a daily chart, you'd see it just continues to do the same thing over and over again. It's chopping and chopping like a stable coin, essentially. Chopping between $5 and $10 for almost 2 years now. So this is a very key level. You got your, let me show you if I bring this all the way down to correct it. All of these rejections are off the macro 236 fib. So what do I teach? In Wyckoff method, we want to see above the 382 to even call it an automatic rally. We haven't even been able to get up to the 236. So when you're below the 236, that's buying zone. When you get above the 382, that's when you're anticipating moving into an AR, which your golden pocket would be more de-risking zone. So this is sort of in the buying essence right now. Let me look at where this trend line takes us. Oh, well, that's very positive. Okay, so we have something to consider here. I would look at this as pretty clean. Let me turn it into an area so we could definitely, perfect. Yep, this is nice. Let me show you what the method to my madness here. Okay, so we have our bull run top, we have our bull trap rejection, secondary rejection, confirming trend line. Then we have, again, one last rejection. Now here, we broke above it, came right back to it, and we've bounced. So if we can make a higher high than this level here, which I wouldn't really feel confident in until we got above the 236 with like weekly closes. Let me look at the weekly chart really quickly. Okay, we haven't really had a weekly close above that level since. There's this one moment, but that was short-lived. Now with Bitcoin in a solar cycle and us moving into this new 2024 cycle, the confidence would kick in if it could get above that 236, somewhere at 850. So anything below 850 is buying vibes, okay? Again, I'm not telling you to buy, I'm just letting you know. And I do plan on accumulating more Link. I do plan on having Chainlink in my venture capital bag. This is one of those projects that I would be interested in holding based off past performance, honestly. We have data that comes in before the C19 crash. That was right here. Look at how resilient it was to the C19 crash. It got right back above it, and it was an early performer in the altcoin game. It also had one of the best 2019s and 2018s out of any altcoin. So yeah, this is one of those that I don't feel weird betting on. Even though it's been trapped in this horizontal range, it's building a ton of trading range there, which tells me that in the next cycle, to de-risk this means that if it was to come back down for a dramatic sell-off, it'll get caught in this level right here because it's built so much trading volume around 5 to 10. That's really strong. Another thing to consider, though, is this thing might only go up into an automatic rally phase. In the next bull run, depending on the timing of things. So you can see right here, we had a break that went quickly above prior all-time highs. That's sort of what projects like this do, but you see this moment right here. If I zoom in, it'll make more sense. Between this point and this point, it took almost 2 years. We had a little bit of a backup phase, and then when we broke out, this was a false kind of moment because a lot of people were probably thinking, oh, we're just going to break out forever now. But that's not what happened. It was sideways for another full year. Okay, so it's hard to determine the timing on things, and that's why I love a Wyckoff method. If this thing is going to have another exuberant rally, it might only come up into this range here. Like we saw happen in the last cycle with Stellar Lumens, and we were talking about Monero, Dash, Litecoin, etc., where it almost like went to a double top, sorta, when we look at a weekly chart. Now, the reason I'm willing to bet on Link is because of long-term things that I'm aware of, where things are headed with CBDCs and just what it is as a technology, being an oracle, and I'm well aware, and it fits into my investment thesis. It kind of rounds it out in some regards. So I do feel there is a possibility for price discovery in the new cycle, and that would be putting us somewhere into the 200 plus range. I'm willing to bet enough on that. We'll see how things go, of course. This is getting to be a longer podcast. I want to wrap this up now. So much we went over in the beginning. Again, I appreciate every single one of you. If you're somebody who's in that affected area right now with what's going on, the Wolfpack is sending you lots of love. Appreciate and grateful for every single one of you. Let's keep it high vibe around here. Speak curiously, ask curiously, and just be open-minded to everything that's about to happen and unfold over the next couple weeks. We are here to work together and collaborate, so let's make that be the focus. I love every single one of you, wishing you a beautiful rest of your weekend in the Matrix. Much love.